And we are very pleased that you have stuck around and waited for our second segment. This is the starting lineup brought to you by Play It Again Sports in the Fremont Shopping Center, Battlefield and Fremont, Springfield. Great deals for you, including trade-ins at Play It Again Sports by Swing Right Golf at the south end of Campbell Avenue, a little bit north of Nixa, by Marshfield Chevrolet, and that is the I-44 exit, and then a couple of left turns, and you're there on the north side of I-44, and you're driving right into Marshfield Chevrolet, and by Citizens Bank of Rogersville with two locales. One is adjacent to Highland Springs, and the other is in Rogersville itself. Great to have you with us. Ned Reynolds along with
Scott Pereira.
And Art Haines.
Good morning, Arthur.
Morning, guys.
We're going to talk some Springfield Cardinals baseball because Dan Reiter has joined us, the GM of the Springfield squad, and if we have Dan on, it means the Cardinals must be home, and they're going to be home for a long time now. A 2-week homestand, 12 games. Dan, those are always fun for you and your staff, aren't they? Do you wave goodbye to them after the 2 weeks? Go on the road and let us catch our breath here a little bit.
Absolutely. I will say the new model of the scheduling in baseball, though, does make it a lot better because at least you have that Monday off day.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you, we all know that we have that Monday off day. Our families know we have it, so it's a blessing in there that at least you get 1 day off in the middle.
Well, Northwest Arkansas is in town, and we were talking in the first hour, a couple new faces coming to Springfield from the High A Peoria team, guys that were tearing it up down there, and that's always fun to get a first look at some new guys coming in as potential future St. Louis Cardinals.
It is, and not only that, it's the timing of the year, is that you're getting those fresh looks, that they bring some energy, they're excited to be there, and they're always impressed with the crowds. And you always see that from the guys coming up from single A as they turn their heads and, there's like, wow, there's more than 100 people here. So I know the Springfield fans, man, they really do impress them when they're coming up from High A. But today also marks the beginning of the second half. And, I think what's important on that is you get a chance to start 2 weeks at home to get some momentum and kind of see how that goes. So I think as far as the schedule goes on that, it's probably a great thing for a team to be able to have 12 games at home before they even hit the road.
With the start of the second half, Dan, does that mean a change in the Springfield Cardinals roster as well? Are there any promotions, demotions? You talked about the kids coming up from Peoria. Anybody leaving the squad?
Yeah, this time of year, there starts being so much speculation every which direction because, the guys that – some guys, they need to see how they perform in AAA for performance for themselves, and other guys that might be showing them off in AAA to see if it's a guy that another team might want to trade for. So this time of year now through, beginning of August is always very, I'll say unsettling, but it's not like nerves unsettling, but just more, you just don't know what's going to happen with promotions, demotions. And, I think right now with the Cardinals, that all starts with AAA and Josh Baez. Mm-hmm. He was with us last year, and I can tell you, man, he was a physical freak. One of those guys that you just walk by and just like, wow, congratulations that you're a stone sculpture that can actually walk. But I mean, he was such a physical beast, and what he's been doing in AAA over the last month. I saw something recently that said he's the hottest prospect in all of minor league baseball. So I think there's a lot of people watching what goes on with him, but that also means someone could come down. If it's a utility guy that's more of an infielder, then they will need an outfielder going up. So this time of year becomes really, really interesting. But to me, I think the story starts with Josh Baez. What happens with him in AAA?
Arthur?
Dan, I know the results in the win-loss column haven't always been there, but the individual performances have been outstanding. And that's what it's really all about at this level. Kind of who have been some of the guys? I know you're the business side of it, but some of the guys with whom you've really been impressed.
The outfield play I've been really impressed with the outfielders because there's so much speed, and I believe we're leading the league in stolen bases. And when you think of guys like Yegeto and Honeyman, I mean they're fast, and anytime they get on base, they can just make things happen. And I think that's always exciting as a fan when you feel that, obviously it's fun when a guy steps into the plate that can hit a bomb, but when you get a guy that's so destructive to the other team's pitcher and their catchers. And I think our outfielders have done that. And the other one that, man, he started slow, but I feel like he's caught fire is Dakota Harris. And it's one where his overall stats maybe aren't showing it, but I know it started out a really rough year for him, but he's like flipped a switch. He's running, he's hitting for power. And also with his glove. I mean, he's just a guy that they can put him at so many different positions, and he's a great defender at, first, second, third. You can put him in outfield. I mean, he's one of those examples you can show kids to say, this is why you learn to play defense, is so that your bat can stay in the lineup.
Dan, I believe Baez has 25 homers at Memphis, which may be leading minor league baseball, but the kid coming up, one of the two coming up from Peoria is Jesus Baez. You guys have a promotional opportunity just saying Baez will be in Springfield the next 2 weeks, right? And,
yeah.
I mean, it's not wrong, right?
It is not, and anything that gets him there, I'm happy.
Yeah.
But, Scott, one of the best promotions, and I think Art will love this one, but our best promotion we've got this week is the fact that it is Northwest Arkansas. Whenever Northwest Arkansas comes into town, it's our one team we play that I think affects the number of crowds. And you see the Royals fans, they do come out to the games and they're excited to see their prospects. Last year, of course, it was the CAG show. Everyone wanted to see CAGs before he got promoted. But I joke that's my favorite other team in the Texas League because it's the one that probably gets us the most tickets sold.
Well, and then on the back end of that, with the Travelers coming next week, they've got two of the best pitching prospects in baseball in Sloan and Cade Anderson down there, so that'll be good too. But kind of take us through what are the highlights of the promotions outside of the regular ones you have each night, like Taco Tuesday, Wiener Wednesday. What are you guys doing special this weekend and then all of next week as well?
Yeah, this really is it's one of our really, really fun stretches that we've got going on at the ballpark. I think that this Saturday, I'll highlight one from this Saturday, is our Military Appreciation Day. We've partnered with Fort Leonard Wood, I believe, since our very first season to have that day. Infused Credit Union helps put it on so we have a special Saturday night fireworks. We're also going to give away the Stan Musial bobblehead, paying tribute to the fact that he was also in the military. And we're working with the Stan Musial, his foundation, to be able to actually have a few Stan Musial items that we'll be auctioning off at that game too. So, I think this Saturday with the Military Appreciation Day, it's always one of my favorite days of the year. And you can always tell too, it's a great day for the troops to be able to get on the buses and come down here. So I would start highlighting that one. And the other thing I would talk about is the following week, Freedom Week. And it's something that we've done, and we just kind of realized with family schedules, some people might have something they do in their communities on some of the different days. So we're going to do fireworks on the 2nd, 3rd, and the 4th. And in all three of those days, they're going to be very, very good fireworks shows. But that 4th of July has just turned into one of our traditions where we have the concert, we have a game, then we have a post-game concert, then we have the fireworks. And I think that as far as like looking for something fun to do, I think our 4th of July celebration is good as any in town. And then the other one, just because I think it's funny because people like to talk about food, is July 2nd, because July 2nd we're giving away 5,000 free hot dogs. And we did it last year, and it was awesome. When people walked in, we handed them a hot dog, and then I think it was the bottom of the first, we said, okay, now start getting as many as you want. And we went through 5,000 hot dogs. We were making announcements like, here's how many are left. But you pair, it sounds funny, but 5,000 free hot dogs, it's a Thirsty Thursday, and then we're going to have a post-game fireworks. And it's like, what a wonderful Thursday night to go spend with your friends and family.
Absolutely. And Dan, what a perfect warm-up for Joey Chestnut before that deal at Coney Island. He could be here to warm up for it.
Yeah. Oh, I'd love to have him out on 5,000 free hot dog night. We'll see how much damage Joey can do. He can put a big dent in there just by himself.
You mentioned just a second ago Dakota Harris and how hot he's been. He's emblematic of his alma mater, which came on and won a national championship last night.
Well, and I'm going to apologize, Ned. I said I wanted to do this from my house, and apparently the yard's being mowed right outside my door, so I missed your question.
No,
so.
it's just making a reference to Dakota Harris and the fact that his alma mater won the title last night.
Oh, yeah. Well, and it is funny this time of year, and it's just a little story, but when you get to this time of year, the guys, like when they're in the clubhouse, a lot of times they might be playing cards or, going through meetings. But whenever the College Baseball World Series, they have the TV to that at all times. And you can tell whether it's their alma mater or what. Man, those guys, I feel like they dial it in to watch the College World Series more than anything we'll see the entire year when it comes to sports. So it's just kind of neat. Some of those guys might be their peers, their friends. They played with them in travel ball. I always think it's kind of neat to see that those guys, the way they kind of dial it in as a fan during the College World Series.
Art?
Dan, do you see the Texas League as being stable right now in terms of membership? There was an expansion a couple of years ago, which you can't make new AA teams. They have to come from somewhere. But do you think that all is pretty stable right now?
Yeah, I think so. Whenever they introduced the PDL system in minor league baseball, part of that, a big reason of that was to bring stability. And whenever they signed that, I believe in 2021, it's a 10-year agreement. And that was to make it so that you didn't have an individual franchise upending an entire league because they wanted to be in a new city, or we wanted to be in a new city. And so whatever that is, like that, they wanted to get rid of that with the PDL. I think the bigger one that fans have been watching is just if MLB expands. And I think that, if MLB does add 2 more teams at some point, then I think that's when you'll see the leagues expanding. And I think if you look at the geography of it, I definitely think that there's a possibility that the Texas League is one of those teams that could add two more spots. And I've sat there and I've looked up on a map and, looked within the radius of the other teams and the population centers. And, but then you also start thinking of existing franchises within that framework. You've kind of got Austin, Texas and Oklahoma City that have been very good AAA teams, but from a geography standpoint, those 2 teams also make a lot of sense for the Texas League. But right now, I think it is extremely stable. I think when we get to about the bigger one, if there's ever a change, I think it would be more tied to MLB expansion. But again, that's me as a fan. I would say that is in no way an official team stance, but it's something I watch because I'm curious. I mean, I definitely would be interested to see if there's expansion. What markets become AAA, what AA teams come in. So I think that's all tied to it. And obviously right now the collective bargaining and the official offers and stances have started. I think that's something it's very fair to look in the crystal ball and see what's ahead.
Dan, of course, you guys talked last time about the Snipe Hunters uniforms and theme. That's back, I believe, Thursday night this week. Kind of talk a little bit more about that. And then I see Sunday, kids can run through the sprinklers in the outfield after the game. Is that a new thing, or have you done that in the past?
We did it. We tried it last year, one game, and it was a blast. And just to see the different kids after the game going through it. You could tell our staff was a little leery, like, what are we supposed to do? And me, I put on my swim trunks and a T-shirt, and I was out there helping them. And I just think that's with minor league baseball, you got to keep doing new fun things. And so, that we tried that last year with the kids run through the sprinklers, and we wanted to bring it back. We've also got an adult run the bases night coming up. So I think that one might be July 3rd, but after a 21-year hiatus, after an adult broke his leg, we went ahead and we're going to go ahead and bring it back. So,
brought to you by Mercy Orthopedics, I think, or not?
Hey, they're always on site with us at the games to keep the players safe, so they can keep the fans safe too. But yeah, we're getting ready to do that one.
Snipe Hunters are back. Yeah,
man, the Snipe Hunters, it was so cool. We shipped to 27 states in the first week. I think we're somewhere in like the 32 to 35 different states. But it's been neat to get people excited. I was in line the other day at the grocery store, and as I'm in line, someone 2 lines over, he starts, "Hey, Snipe Hunters thing is cool." He was a Boy Scout he was a Boy Scout in California, and he said their entire group all had gone snipe hunting, and like it started a text group with him and all of his friends that have scattered across the country. And after he starts talking to me about it, the guy behind him says, "Yeah, I saw that Snipe Hunters thing. Like, I can't wait to go get a hat." And so, I think it's just a neat way to pass along a legend, to connect. And I think that we've seen like the Springfield cashew chickens, we still have that too. So please, don't get upset. We're not letting rid of it. Let go of that one. But the Springfield cashew chickens, I think, made people kind of nod. We're from Springfield. We like it. I feel like the Ozarks Snipe Hunters, it's connected in a totally different way where it's made people have some really happy memories. And I think it's also going to start creating some new memories, because I know both of my boys are now begging me to go on snipe hunts. So I cannot wait to go to a friend's house that has a little bit of land and take them on their first snipe hunt.
When is the next cashew chicken night?
This Thursday is going to be Ozarks Snipe Hunters, and then I believe on the following Thursday is the Springfield Cashew Chickens.
Very good, sir.
The other part about it is whenever we have the cashew chickens, that cashew chicken is a great seller in our concession stand. I can't get rid of that. If people like eating the cashew chicken at the game, we got to keep it rocking.
Art?
No, I'm ready now for the cashew chicken night. That sounds great.
Hey, how do you guys come up with all these? I mean, is it just brainstorming meetings, and how do you keep track of? Obviously, you've got a promotions calendar on the website, but that's a lot to do in pack into one night. But as you said, in athletics, not just minor league baseball, athletics as a whole, you better do something different, or people are just going to stay home and watch it on TV if they can, right?
Yeah, and I think the how is there's a lot of creative people, and in minor league baseball they do meetings where you're idea sharing, so you're trying to hear best practices from across the country on things that have worked well, and I think for us, I one of the things that we like to think of is don't just copy someone else, but what hasn't been done, and I think that's where our team does a very good job of being able to say, how can we create something that's never been done before, and then kind of taking the excitement to do it. And our staff, they kind of joke that they always get afraid of me when I come up and say, "Hey, I've got an idea," and it's kind of a collective groan, sigh, eye roll. But that's where I also think it's a team thing, is that no matter who starts with the initial idea, when you start talking through it and you start getting the group behind it, that's when we get some of our best things. And, if you come to one of those nights, whether it's a Snipe Hunters, a Cashew Chickens, what you end up seeing is the video board transform, and that's done from 3 different people. And then you see activations on the concourse, which is done from 3 other people. And you might see something new on the team store, which is done from another guy. And I think really it takes that entire team to make an idea come to life versus making it one person's idea. And that's something I'm really proud of the way that we operate is, try to give credit to all the different people in all the different departments to really make those fun nights come to life for people.
Well, Dan, we always appreciate your time. We know it's going to be a busy 2 weeks. Wanted to get you on to kind of talk about it. With Taco Tuesday, Wiener Wednesday, Thirsty Thursday, I've offered up Flirtatious Friday, brought to you by Senior Health Plans of the Ozarks, where we offer up Ned for an hour and a half for all the senior ladies. He'll buy them a drink. He'll tell Ned stories. They can take pictures. Is that maybe on the table with you guys or
no? Dan, it is not on the table.
I was saying, we live in an age of consent, Scott, and when I see Ned shake his head no, I think that his consent is no longer there.
So Flirtatious Friday will be kind of tabled for now then, basically, right?
But maybe we can look at a single Sunday.
There you go.
Maybe that's a different way to look at it.
Actually, you could do that.
Well, Dan, enjoy the homestand. Your staff does a great job, and we'll see you over at the ballpark.
All right. Thank you, guys. Appreciate all of you.
You bet.
Dan Reiter, Vice President, General Manager, Springfield Cardinals, visiting with back with the starting lineup in just a second. It really is a heck of a summer treat to go out and watch professional baseball here in town. I think it's sensational.
It is, and they do such a great job of so many things going on that it's trying to attract them out. And Art's lining up now for the cashew chicken, I believe, right, Art?
You bet.
Yeah. Do they do that? Is that their own recipe? I wonder if that when they do that.
No. I think the folks from Leon's go out there and
oh, do they? Okay, that's awesome. Yeah. Well, Art, big night of news last night. We talked about the College World Series with OU, one of the more improbable late season runs in recent memory. what did you see last night with the 13-2 win?
Well, Keith was right yesterday on the show that North Carolina was going to be low on pitching, and they were giving up that many runs. I mean, OU was just relentless and took advantage of every opportunity they had, and it was a dominating win.
We were talking with Corey in the first hour about that's got to give every program out there, including the Bears this year, that if you just get hot at the right time, you never know. And, of course, we saw that in 2003 when they wound up in Omaha. But, I mean, it's well documented now. This was an OU team that was struggling in May, got knocked out of the first round of the SEC tournament, and they just happened to win the right 9 games in a row to get in the position to win the whole thing.
But to get hot, you've got to have pitching depth.
Yeah.
And they did.
And Ned, I think it's cool that it was 3 freshmen, that they started in those games. I mean, and I think one of the announcers last night says you may not see that for quite a while because with the portal, everybody's going out and buying veteran arms to throw in there.
And I think the pitching staff and the lack of, by North Carolina, having to bring in a guy who had thrown 5 innings the day before tells you exactly how important it is that you have that pitching staff at full strength when you get into any kind of championship round. And Oklahoma had it, and they had their bats back in order. And, hey, it makes a big difference. And I'll tell you, I think it was the 4th inning, if I remember correctly now, with the pitching staff walking the ballpark the way they did for North Carolina, that is a backbreaker every time. And you just can't have it. Art, would you agree with that one?
Oh, absolutely. And I mean that was a lot of the Bears' problem this year.
Sure.
was not commanding the strike zone. You just can't give away too many free bases.
And I don't think it was talked about enough, but we see this in the basketball side of things, that sometimes when somebody gets knocked out of a pretty lengthy conference tournament, and they still have a chance to get into the actual NCAA tournament, it's not always a bad thing. I mean, you go home and you regroup and you recharge for 4 or 5 days. Then you find out on the Monday where you're going to go, and all of a sudden it's almost like the start of another season. That's kind of what it amounted to for OU.
If you have the luxury of getting into the NCAA tournament without making a good run in your conference tournament, as was their case, then, yeah, that work out pretty well. And
the flip side of that is Arkansas. I mean, they were down in Hoover, playing through Sunday, and Georgia beat them up pretty good in the SEC title game on a Sunday. Arkansas finds out the next day where they're going. Of course, disappointed they weren't hosting again. But then they go to KU, and they were pretty flat, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, I'd say that's the case. I think they went in there figuring they were going to win because they're Arkansas. And KU had other ideas. And
I'll tell you, the media adding their opinions about where the games would be played. I don't know how many times we heard on the telecasts of the games that, well, Arkansas, with this win right here, they'll get a home game. That had to be a massive disappointment. Them going into that and thinking, hey, we'll get a home game here. But nope, Lawrence, Kansas, we're going to end up.
And then, of course, go ahead, Art.
They were basing that, a lot of them, on that they're going to draw big crowds.
Sure.
Well, no, you're going to give the committee is going to give the regional to the team that they think deserves it.
Exactly.
Lots of NBA news coming out last night. Dusty May leaving Michigan apparently to go coach the Dallas Mavericks. Giannis on the move from Milwaukee to Miami, and a big deal there. Trae Young stays put, going to stay with the Wizards. NBA draft tonight. This is kind of the NBA's night to shine, is it not?
It is. That was a shocker with Dusty May going to the NBA.
It sure was.
Still a young coach, but has had obviously great success wherever he's been in college, won the championship this year. My friend Chuck Cooperstein, the voice of the Mavericks, was surprised and disappointed that they fired Jason Kidd, with whom he had a really good relationship. But on with Dusty May, and he may be the guy to bring Cooper Flagg along in his career.
Well, the thing about May going there, number one, that kind of disappointed me a bit, was he just told a member of the media last week that he was committed to Michigan no matter what, and so much for the commit. Here he comes to the Dallas Mavericks. Okay, understand the paycheck and the solidifying force that the NBA offers to a coach. And Scott pointed out earlier, you don't have to go through that transfer portal and the nil and all this sort of thing. That's got to be a major burden for college coaches, I would think.
Yeah, Art, there was a story at CBS Sportsline where the guy interviewed May, and this was back in April, and he said, the guy said, do you see yourself coaching at college basketball for several years? He goes, I don't think so, because of that very reason, the constant recruiting. And then he pointed out dealing with the agents. It's not so much the kids in NIL, it's dealing with the handler. Yeah.
Well, and it is, that's a warning note that a lot of veteran coaches and not so veteran coaches like May are getting out for that very reason. Yep. It just becomes so different. You're not just coaching anymore. You're dealing with so many outside factors.
I was looking through the NBA mock draft for tonight, and, of course, Darius Acuff Jr. probably going to go in the first 6 picks in that 5, 6, 7 range, according to most of the mock drafts. But could be a big night for Link Academy. I'm looking through here at the projections, and it looks like there may be up to 4 former Link players going in the first round. Cam Carr, Chris Carr's son, and it was at Link and then played at Tennessee before he finished at Baylor. LeBaron Filan, that was the Bama kid, Terrace Reed Jr., and then Chris Sinek Jr. that played 1 year at Houston. So, Link's doing what they tell those kids they're going to do. You come in and play with us, you're going to go to college, probably going to be a one and done, and then you're going to make a lot of money the next year. Well, you're actually going to make a lot of money the first year in college now, the way things are. Right. But kind of neat to see that happen. And then, of course, Trevon Brazile telling us yesterday on the interview that, was it the Bulls that he said he wouldn't mind being fairly close with them?
He thought he'd really like to go to Chicago.
Yeah. Art, what kind of prospect do you see Trevon as?
Oh, I think he'll get drafted. And like we said yesterday, he's got such a versatile skill set in that he's tall, but he can shoot threes, he can block shots, he can defend. He's that versatility really will serve him well.
And I think the growing up he did, showing the NBA scouts, from a personality and a mental standpoint. Because Ned and I were talking in the first hour, his first year at Arkansas, of course, he blows out the knee in December, comes back the next year and just has an awful year on and off the court with Musselman. It looked like his chances of being a pro maybe were dead in the water that year. Then he grew up, and then Coach Cal came in and made him grow up and be more businesslike, and you're going to see what happens the next couple nights, probably tomorrow night, in round 2, because looking here at this mock draft I have up, they have the Brooklyn Nets taking him at the 43rd overall pick, Trevon Brazile. So, but just kind of neat to see a kid kind of battle through that, and now his payday's coming.
Yeah, he'll be a good pro. And I remember being so impressed with him when he was at Parkview, even as a sophomore, pleasantly not surprised, but have followed his career and wish him well.
You make a very good point, too. He could be a key fit to some team. Look at the Antetokounmpo trade to Miami. That frees up Cam Adebayo, who is a very good three-point shooter, about the same height that Trevon Brazile is. So he could fit that same role with another team that wants to free up their baseline man, control the boards. There's a lot of possibilities to drafting him.
And one other Arkansas note, Malik Thomas, his teammate, projected to go early second round as well, too. But, before we go to T-Bear here in a second, the thing with Trevon is he would have stretches of 3 or 4 minutes where he would block a shot and then hit a three and then go down the next time and just drive the lane and slam over somebody where you're going, holy cow. And then he might disappear for a few minutes. Well, those disappearances were fewer and farther between this last year. I think that's what really has the NBA people excited.
Didn't disappear in the Sioux game in Columbia.
No, put them out of their misery, as he put it there, too. So, but anyway, well, hey, let's take a time out, and T-Bear's waiting for us. Let's talk some racing right after this.
This is the starting lineup, back in just a second. And we welcome you back to the starting lineup, brought to you by Play It Again Sports, by Citizens Bank of Rogersville, by Swing Right Golf, and by Marshfield Chevrolet. Ned Reynolds along with
Scott Purrier.
And Art Haines.
And on the line with us is our auto racing correspondent. Every Tuesday in that 8:30 spot, we bring in Trenton Berry of RacingDirt.com. Trenton, good morning.
Hey, good morning, guys.
Big weekend. It was kind of fun to watch the race around the naval base out there at Coronado. It was different, and I kind of got into it after a while watching all those. The thing that I think is just amazing is they're still doing, 115, 120 miles an hour in some of those straightaways on a track where it looks like they're going about 40 on TV.
Oh, yeah. No question about it. It's wild what they do when they go in and build these street courses, and that's been a newer thing with NASCAR. It really helps helps get NASCAR into some of these new markets. With the infrastructure is expensive to get in there, but not what it would be to put a permanent facility in. And IndyCar's done that for years. F1 has done that for years. It's cool to see NASCAR kind of take a page out of their playbook, and they said they had more places they wanted to go explore in the future, and other major markets that were kind of untapped for NASCAR. One of them was like the Denver, Colorado area, another one the Pacific Northwest. So I don't think they're probably done building street courses for sure.
Trenton, Corey Haim, who won this race, gets glowing reports about his career. I must admit to you, I wasn't familiar with him. Can you tell us a bit about him?
Oh, yeah. So just a couple of weeks ago, he was announced prior to this win that he's going to take the third seat for 2311 next year. So he was a truck champion a year ago. He won 12 races. He's running part-time in the trucks in the Cup Series this year. He's a dog. He's one that we're going to talk about for the next 15 to 20 years. Once he gets in here full-time, he's not one that's going to be leaving, and they're not going to send him packing, and he'll be a coveted prize for 2311. He has the glowing reviews because he's earned them. There's really 3 young racers right now that are kind of in that pipeline. The other one was the driver, Jesse Love is his name. He's racing in the O'Reilly Series, and he just got announced next year. He's taking over the Wood Brothers, number 21, and they're going to be affiliated with Penske. And the other one, there's a second Corey that's really, really good, and he came out of dirt racing. He was racing at Lucas Oil Speedway 2 seasons ago. From time to time, he made a couple of starts there. His name is Corey Day, and he was actually kind of a protege through Kyle Larson, and Larson got him connected with Rick Hendrick, and he's now running in the O'Reilly Series with Hendrick Motorsports. So the pipeline's good, and it's rich, and it's flush with talent, and Corey Haim is definitely at the head of the pack. Scott, I don't know if you remember, there was so much we were looking at there prior to the race when we went to Kansas City, but that was one of the races. Sunday was only Corey's 13th race. But he ran at Kansas City when we were there, and we walked around. We kind of had that main row of the garage area, but that second row where like some of the non-full-timers and other teams were, Corey was back there, and he was on that corner, and it was the yellow car that day. And I said, hey, don't forget this name, the 67. Everybody's really high on him. His name's Corey Haim, and we got an up close look there at his race car, and man, he delivered Sunday.
Okay, Art.
Trenton, I think NASCAR is really hit on a nice formula here of mixing up the type of races for the road courses and then the different characteristics of the ovals, rather than just, run around the track and they're all same. Nothing could be further than the case, and I think that makes it interesting.
No question about it. So the big thing from San Diego, we can talk about the race and all this, but let's just pull the curtain back here a little bit on the business. They had 50,000 people there for the race on Sunday. They had 125,000 people there for the weekend, and NASCAR announced 67% of that crowd was new to NASCAR, and those are the things that help grow your brand. I know you guys had Dan on earlier talking about promotions with the Springfield Cardinals and whatnot and things that they do. That's exactly what NASCAR is doing. They're just doing it with some shifts to some venues and some new places, but it's great for the brand to do this. I don't inherently just love road racing, and I think this is plenty that's on the schedule. I'm really glad Charlotte went away. That Charlotte race in the fall needs to be on the oval track. It's just better. There's a lot on the line. We don't need to, if we're going to kind of not necessarily gimmick it up, but go away from the norm. We don't need to be going away from the norm just a ton in the chase where everybody's trying to run for the championship. It gets so intense right there, but. Doing this stuff in the middle of the summer right here, giving people a reason to tune in. The sports calendar's a little slim, so why not jump in here and capitalize on it? Kudos all the way around for NASCAR. Well, perfectly done.
I think it was just kind of neat to see SVG not win a street or road course there. he had his own problems there, and then Bubba Wallace finished second. I happened to be flipping a lot Sunday afternoon, and Bubba, I got over there when Bubba had just had a little incident there, lost a wheel, and he wasn't real happy with his crew. Is there a pit crew member getting fired when something like that happens or not?
Oh, so there are definite penalties. I haven't heard exactly what this one will be, but there are some standard penalties for loose lug nuts and things. The reason is not because it comes off the race car and hinders the racer. It is a huge inherent safety risk to the fans that are there if that thing goes flying over the fence, which it could. And so that's why NASCAR is so staunch on that. But he raced his way back from that 2-lap penalty. Speaking of things that are dangerous, though, did you guys see the O'Reilly race Saturday? They had a break, and the fan literally jumped over the fence, got on the racetrack, and fist bumped Sheldon Creed. One of the drivers when the race was stopped. It was the craziest thing.
That's nuts.
He had 2 rows of fences. He had to jump.
How did he get over him? The guy must be a hurdler.
Yeah, he looked like an Olympian. He went over him, and then he went back, and then they said they arrested him afterwards after he got back, but they have it all on video. It was the craziest thing.
Trenton, the Van Gisbergen circumstance was an accident, not of his fault. He was not very happy when this ended.
No.
Why is it that he is so skilled at road racing and yet he finishes well in the oval races, but he's not a champion there? Why is that?
Yeah, he ran those what they called Australian V8 supercars. That was his background for major professional racing in Australia. He was a dirt racer. He was a sprint car racer in New Zealand, and then he ran Australian V8 supercars, which are like, Corvettes. I'm not going to pretend to be an expert, but Corvettes, Lamborghinis, things, high-end sports cars. But they run those on road courses, and so that skill set, and he was elite there, and that's how he got the attention for Justin Marks to come run the Chicago street race. He won his first NASCAR race on a one-off deal, and then came the next season to race full time. There were no plans of that initially. He just came to do a one-off when Chicago was going to run right downtown there, and he stuck with it, and he showed he's a great racer. Now the other part of this, and I'm not saying that it could or couldn't have happened any other way, but the car that started that was Austin Hill, and he is the driver that replaced Kyle Busch. So just kind of a tough moment right there. And but Hill's in a really hard spot as well. So I'm not trying to throw any shade at him, but just of note, had Kyle Busch's accident not happened, that he wouldn't have been in that situation. So you never know how that one could have played out.
Arthur?
So, Trenton, the traditional Charlotte here for the 4th of July coming up, I guess. What's this weekend?
So we're going to Sonoma. So they're staying in California. They're road racing. It's their final one, and this is plenty. And I don't love 2 of them stacked back to back, but I understand with logistics they don't want to send the haulers back to the East Coast to bring them back out there. So they're doing that. They're knocking Sonoma off. It's used to be called Sears Point for many years. That one and Watkins Glen are your 2 traditional NASCAR mainstays on the schedule. So they're doing that one. That's a favorite of the wives, I'm told, because they're in wine country. So that one is that one's a very enjoyable trip, according to everybody that makes it on the inside for NASCAR. So another good weekend. This also starts their in-season. They do this in-season tournament, which is kind of cool. It all plays out within the race. The top 32 in standings are paired off, 1 versus 32, 2 versus 35, and so on. And it's heads up versus it's the highest finisher over the next 5 races. The field gets cut in half, whittled all the way down. This coincides with TNT's schedule of their races, and the winner gets $1 million at the end of it at the Brickyard in Indy. So something else to be looking forward to here. Drivers have individual head-to-head matchups within the race for a lot of money down the line.
T-Bear, talk about the driver swap, I guess, if you will, every year. I mean, there's guys that come and guys that go. When the guys lose their NASCAR Cup ride, where do they go? Do they drop down and do trucks and other levels and then hope to get back up? Is it kind of like baseball's minor league system, or it kind of explain that whole dynamic of it?
Yeah, generally, once you're a Cup driver, you don't generally get relegated out beyond the truck series, and a lot of times you can catch on with a lower funded team for like a partial schedule, or you could run maybe a full O'Reilly series schedule. There's one clear roadmap, but once you're established in the Cup series, I hate it for Josh Berry. He was a great story. He was a short track asphalt late model racer for years and years, and he won a ton of races and got a great opportunity with one of the coolest teams in NASCAR, and he won with the Wood brothers. So they just chose not to renew his contract, and so yeah, he's probably looking, maybe he goes to a colleague racing, or maybe he goes to a lower level Cup team, something like that. I don't necessarily know what exactly his plan will be, but he'll probably go there and split time between Saturday and Sunday next year, I would assume.
T-Bear, is Tyler Reddick still the points leader?
He is, but it's only 8 points. So that was a crazy part of the race. He had a chance to win that thing, and once he had the chance to win it. Sorry, there, my phone was going off. I had to get that stopped. Once he had the opportunity, he had made contact.
Quit calling T-Bear, people. He's on yeah.
You guys right there? You right there with me?
Yeah, we lost you for a second there because of that call.
Oh, yeah. Okay, yeah, sorry. I apologize. Tyler Reddick's situation, he got together with Haines there late, but he felt like he had drove him dirty, and especially too dirty for him being a teammate. So Reddick said he wasn't going to win the race that way. He kind of ceded the position to Corey Haines, cut a tire, and wound up finishing 25th. Not a great run for Reddick, who's one of NASCAR's best road racers. Expect him to turn that corner, as well as SVG at Sonoma this next week. He's in a little bit of I guess maybe a little bit of a downturn. I don't think it's necessarily so much of a downturn as he just had a little bit of bad luck this week. But classy move by Reddick, which you would always expect here with the way that he races and his persona and everything. But man, they're right in the thick of it right here.
Art.
I was intrigued what you said about the NASCAR wives enjoying the Sonoma trip.
Yeah.
That tells you how the sport has changed. I can't imagine Mrs. Richard Petty or Mrs. Cale Yarborough sipping on wine back in the day, but the circumstances have changed.
Yes, they certainly have. That's a great point. But yeah, I don't ever hear anybody in that world complaining about the trip to Sonoma. So I think the guys have some fun on their off days too, if truth be told.
Well, T-Bear, we're coming up on the 4th of July holiday next weekend, not this weekend. And what does that mean in terms of local racing and the weekend before the 4th of July weekend? Are there some big things going on locally this weekend?
Yeah, and there is right there in town as well. The Summer Nationals race, dirt late model races at Springfield Raceway out by the airport on Thursday night. They'll absolutely pack that place to the gills. They don't have rafters there, but the phrase is they'll be hanging from the rafters to watch that show Thursday. So that'll be a great race for the local race fans in town. They'll get you out of there and get that race ran early so you can get home and get to work. So if you get a chance, you ought to go check that one out. And then Lucas Oil does the best fireworks display, man, that I've ever seen at a short track for sure. One of the best that I've ever seen. I was a little too young to recall Firefall, but the folks that do tell me that this one rivals Firefall. It's about a half hour after the races are over, and it's a world class experience, set to music, perfectly timed, and that'll be on Thursday night, July 2nd. Our Heartland Modified Tour is the headline class that night. It's one of the biggest races of the summer in the Ozarks, and I'm just absolutely tickled to death that we get to run there that night, and just thrilled to be a small part of that event.
I'm too young to remember Firefall, too, so indeed we're...
Ned's Firefall was started with rocks and kindling. When he
Don't think that I wasn't listening a little bit earlier when I heard Scott slip in Single Sunday, and Ned kind of gave that one a good grin there.
No.
I like Flirtatious Friday better, but
let me ask you a quick question. One of the staples in NASCAR used to be, of course, the Firecracker 400. That no longer that doesn't exist in the entity, but they've moved it back a few months, I believe, haven't they?
They have, yeah. So they're going to Chicago this year, which is kind of it's a weird spot. I think, truth be told, I think they probably wanted to keep the street race in Chicago and never get rid of it. but they couldn't get their contracts worked out. And I'm going to be more shocked if it doesn't come back than if it does. It's supposed to be coming back on the schedule. So I feel like Chicagoland this year is just kind of a stopgap to keep them within the market for the season. But yes, it's coming up right there, right around the 4th of July weekend.
Very good.
Very good, T-Bear. Hey, as always, we appreciate you, and we'll talk more racing next Tuesday.
Appreciate you guys. Thanks a ton.
Thank you.
Trenton Berry visiting with us on the starting lineup. We'll be right back. And we are in the stretch run of the starting lineup. St. Louis Cardinals baseball tonight with the Arizona Diamondbacks. Fire away. What else do we have?
Yeah, Art wanted to bring this up because I know we're short on time here, a couple minutes left, but breaking news this morning that the PGA Tour has approved a two-tier system for 2028 with separate fields, separate schedules, and separate points. And basically, we'll get more into this tomorrow when they're having an official press conference this afternoon, but it almost sounds like they're separating will be a championship series with 16 elevated events and the majors, and then what's called a challenger series for everybody else. So you'll have your best of the best playing one tour, the others playing the other. I kind of wonder what this is going to do to the Korn Ferry Tour, because isn't that what the Korn Ferry Tour kind of is to a degree? Is that challenger series?
This will be a triple A, and the Korn Ferry Tour, I think, would be more of a double A. I would think is how that works.
Well, what it is sounds like they're just dividing the top PGA Tour events into first tier, second tier. So that wouldn't draw from Korn Ferry. It would just separate the top tour.
Correct.
But what is that going to do for that second tier of events in terms of viewership and interest and attendance? I mean, because they're going to be running concurrently in 2028. So when TV is one, I'm going to be on NBC or CBS, the other one's on CW.
And CW, where the Live Tour was. That's probably held over.
Or Prime. By then it'll be more Prime, more Peacock, more things like that, I'm sure. But it just seems kind of odd.
That will devastate those tournaments.
Yeah, and so now you've got, and they want to get into more major markets now with some of the remaining slots they need to fill for the championship series. It'll be up to 24 events, it says, including 16 signature events, the Players' Championship, 4 majors, season-ending events, and the President's Cup or Riders' Cup.
Does it say what the prize money will be on that second level?
It does not. So I think there'll be each will have a purse of at least $20 million on the main one. So I don't know what that's going to do. And then the other guys will be on the Challenger Series. So we'll be interested to see when this all comes out this afternoon in more detail.
So the press conference for it to announce it fully is today.
Yeah. They're where are they this week after the U.S. Open?
They are up in Cromwell, Connecticut, and it is a signature tournament.
Yeah, so they're having a press conference to announce this. But, a division of the PGA Tour into 2 different branches, basically.
Out of time, guys. Out of time. Great having you with us on this beautiful Tuesday. Ed Reynolds along with
Scott Pereira.
Art Haines.
And we fully expect to see you tomorrow right here on the starting lineup at this very same time.
See ya.